When Donald Trump is sworn in as president later this month, he's going to conveniently find a Supreme Court vacancy just sitting there waiting for him. And the reason for that is because Senate Republicans, over the course of basically the past year, refused to do their constitutional duty and give a free and fair hearing to President Obama's potential nominee for that court. So now the Republicans are in charge, and the Republicans get to choose someone. So what are the Democrats going to do now that the situation is reversed? Let's find out from the leadership of the Dems in the Senate, Chuck Schumer.
Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon says they stole a Supreme Court seat.
It's a fair statement.
Didn't they just get away with it? I mean, are there no consequences for it?
Well, the consequences are going to be down the road. The consequences are going to be down the road. We are not going to settle on a Supreme Court nominee. If they don't appoint someone who's really good, we're going to oppose them tooth and nail. Now then, they won't have 60 votes to put in an out-of-the-mainstream nominee, and then they'll have to make a choice, change the rules. It's going to be very hard for them to change the rules because there are a handful of Republicans who believe in the institution of the Senate and don't change the rules. But we are not going to make it easy for them to pick a Supreme Court justice.
Is there an argument to be made, though, if it is a fair statement that that was basically a stolen seat, so it isn't theirs to fill, then in that case, no nominee would be legitimate because that seat should have been filled by President Obama.
It's hard for me to imagine a nominee that Donald Trump would choose that would get Republican support that we could support. So you're right.
And so you would do your best to hold the seat open?
Absolutely.
Now, so that message is out there, and if Chuck Schumer's talking about it, then it's likely that other Democrats have probably gotten that message, and so the Republicans are starting to think about the possibility that they might have a little bit of trouble getting a nominee passed. So let's turn to this next video where you're going to see Mitch McConnell and his incredibly ironic statement on that potential strategy.
I noticed my counterpart, Senator Schumer, announced yesterday that their goal was to apparently never fill the Supreme Court vacancy. That's kind of an expansion of the Biden rule. Apparently there's yet a new standard now, which is to not confirm a Supreme Court nominee at all. I think that's something the American people simply will not tolerate, and we'll be looking forward to receiving a Supreme Court nomination and moving forward on it.
Now that's hilarious.
That's amazing. Amazing. How did his head not explode when he said that?
So if you've been living in a box and you didn't pay attention to politics for the last year, which it was weird, but I get it. Certainly on the Senate side, everybody was forced to pay attention to the presidential side. The Republicans blocked the Supreme Court nominee of President Obama for a year. And they just said, no, under no circumstances will we confirm or even consider, even put up for a vote any nominee. We don't care who it is.
Doesn't matter who it is.
And we're not judging Merrick Garland by his merits. It's a no, no, and no. We don't have to fill the Senate seat. Ha, 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 ha. Now they turn around and go, the American people will not stand for that seat not being filled. Well, you know, look, to be fair to you guys, you won the election. So apparently you were right. The American people will stand for it. You guys blocked it, and they said, okay, congratulations, that strategy worked. So now the Democrats are going to do likewise. Now, look, first, let me give them credit.
Theoretically going to do likewise.
Right. So this is the right strategy, and it is good to be strong, okay? Now, I've got to give you guys, the audience, a warning that based on our previous history with Democrats, not likely to hold.
Based on that, Ivanka on the court in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. So I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's a new Democratic Party, and I know they're trying to show strength here, but my guess is that they will not only will they not get the Republican support that they're dreaming about, you know, oh, Republicans care about the institution of the Senate. Yeah. Come on, man, come on. So I know McCain and a couple of those guys pretend to care about it, right? Now, and I told you that Harry Reid was making a terrible mistake. They didn't get rid of the filibuster, so this is complicated. There's a couple of different ways that you can use the filibuster. Now, you can always use it for a Supreme Court nominee, and that was the case before. It's the case today. Before, you could use it to hold up all appointments. And the Democrats, right before they lost the elections, decided in their infinite stupidity, hey, we're going to get rid of that rule in case the Republicans win, then they'll jam it down our throat, and they'll have an excuse to take away the filibuster for a Supreme Court nominee. So all those guys who at the time were like, Democrats, don't you do it. I care about the institution of the Senate.
Yeah.
That's what the McCains and the Republicans, et cetera, said. Now my guess is they'll say, Harry Reid did it, so what? We're going to take this away. Yeah. And not only that, he won't even hold his own Democrats. You think Manchin is going to go along with this?
No, Manchin already said like he's ready to go along with repealing Obamacare and all that stuff. Like they're in charge, and I secretly always wanted to be a part of them anyway. Now look, I said at the time that it was the first time in history that they just decided for 9 months we're just not going to do our fucking job and confirm a Supreme Court justice. That was Obama's Supreme Court justice. And it's not like he nominated some crazy, wide-eyed, ultra-progressive. It was Merrick Garland.
Who voted?
Who would have been nominated by George H.W. Bush a couple of decades ago.
No, but Merrick Garland voted in favor of Citizens United. He voted in favor of corruption. Yeah. Now, the Democrats made 1,000 excuses for that. But they thought, oh, Hillary Clinton will win, and she'll put him in anyway. And oops, we couldn't solve money in politics. So it's not like I had a lot of love for the Democrats.
Devil's advocate, this is the best we can possibly get under the Republicans. And there was some chance that they would fold, maybe. But anyway, I said at the time, they can't simply not do their job. You get to have 9 people, and it's supposed to be yours if you're the president when it happens. And so I have this need that few in politics or even in the media have to try to be consistent. But they fucking stole it, like Rachel Maddow said in that. They stole it. They'll be on the court for decades. And here's the thing. I'm going to read some quotes at some point. You're not going to get a Merrick Garland under Donald Trump. I was saying in the production meeting, you're not going to get a human under Donald Trump. You're going to get an orc. Some sort of disgusting, foul creature is going to end up on that court.
So, look, guys, of course I'm with John. We want to be consistent. So what should have happened is Obama should have gotten to have his appointee heard out and gotten to pick. He had a whole year, right? Of course they should have allowed that. And then if there was an opening under Trump, of course the Democrats should hold hearings and let the guy have a vote. Of course, right? Yeah. But that's why I'm like, if Schumer follows through on this and the Democrats do, I'll give them all the credit in the world because that's actually playing hardball. What I would have preferred for them to have done so that they could be more consistent is when they blocked Obama's nominee and said, we will never give them a hearing. They should have immediately said to the press as loudly as they could and over again, if the Republicans ever win, and said that's the thing, that was their hubris. They thought, the Republicans aren't going to win. Trump isn't going to win, right? If the Republicans ever win, we will never, ever allow a vote on a Republican Supreme Court nominee. Because right now, you're not allowing it. So let's shake on it. From now on, we don't have any more Supreme Court.
We have 8 people in the Supreme Court.
We have 8
maybe
people,
7 eventually.
And eventually it'll be 7, and eventually it'll be a 0. Because if you don't confirm Merrick Garland or at least have a vote on him, we're not going to confirm any of your guys. If they said it a year ago, then everybody would say, well, I mean, they were clear about it, and it was the Republicans who chose to ignore that warning and set the precedent.
At the very least, and look, again, I want to be consistent, and in 2 years or whatever, they're going to be expected to do their job. At the very least, they need to have harsher scrutiny than any Supreme Court justice has ever experienced. And I know that there were huge, long-running battles at the late 80s, early 90s. It should be the harshest scrutiny possible. And look, I want to be consistent. I think that you need to have a full court. Not everybody agrees in politics. So let's just quickly go through a couple quotes of people who don't agree. So this was Senator Chuck Grassley, who said, 6, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9. These numbers reveal the absurdity of the argument that somehow the federal judiciary is debilitated without a 9th Supreme Court justice for a brief period of time, a year. The Supreme Court was established with only 6 justices. No one would call members of the first Congress that passed the Judiciary Act of 1789, like James Madison or George Washington, who signed it into law, un-American. So if you simply never fill the court, you are still an American, according to Chuck Grassley.
Can I just say, look, all we're saying is, you want us to be consistent? You want us to be open-minded? Okay, fine, I agree with Chuck Grassley.
Yeah.
6, 7, 9, and 10 are all numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just stick with 8.
The Senate's power to withhold consent is as much a part of the Constitution as the president's power to nominate. It's common sense, and it's entirely American.
Okay,
well,
great,
we'll see.
Chuck. All right.
Ted Cruz said, There is certainly a long historical precedent for a Supreme Court with fewer justices. I would note just recently that Justice Stephen Breyer observed that the vacancy is not impacting the ability of the court to do its job. That's a debate that we're going to have. Now, look, you can say, okay, but they were just saying like for 9 months at the end of an administration. They would never have done what the Democrats might do, which is just never confirm anyone for the entirety of a new president's term. Maybe, but let's turn to John McCain back in October.
How would you be able to stop that when you weren't able to stop Sotomayor, for example?
I think in the case of Sotomayor, they were able to convince some Republicans. I promise you that we will be united against any Supreme Court nominee that Hillary Clinton, if she were president, would put up. And I promise you, this is why we need the majority.
Any extreme hardcore lib Supreme Court justice. And that wasn't at the tail end of a presidency, which is a BS historical argument to begin with. That was him saying, John McCain, the guy who respects the Senate and the Constitution, no matter who she nominates for the entirety of her term, we will be united and we will never nominate one.
That's
Sorry,
their
I just agree
standard.
with John McCain.
That's the Republican standard. Okay, I guess we got a deal. If you want to see this happen, donate $3, $20, $27, whatever you can afford. You know that if everybody that's watching this video donated right now, we could stop the fundraising because we'd have enough. So go to tytnetwork.com/go. We'll wait while you make the donation. Thank you for doing it and for building a great new journalism team. And thanks for watching.